Hello. Tonight we're going to start with the gravy first. All this stuff is fairly simple. It's a little bit of a spin on traditional turkey dinner. Something a little bit quicker and more convenient that you can do in smaller batch for a couple or a small group. Basically this right here is you can get at the grocery store around this time. They'll actually have butchered down turkeys where you can get the full breast. That's what we're using tonight. But you could always use the tenderloins that are under the breast. Basically I just cut it in a loin shape and we're going to slice it in thin medallions. That way we can cook it faster. And we're going to start with just seasoning the loin with, you can use kosher salt, sea salt, little fresh cracked pepper, and I threw some chili powder in there to kind of blend it with the theme that's with the gravy, because it's a chili-pecan gravy. Basically we start with just olive oil, and you get your mirepoix in there, which is the onions, celery, of course your garlic and your red bell peppers to give it that little southwestern feel. Just kind of saute that till it's tender. Got a little bit more in there, then of course season. Chili powder in there. It's a little bit different than what some people are probably used to. A lot of people do egg gravies or straight giblet gravies. This is pulling away from the giblets, things like that, because they're a little bit more unhealthy for you. There's some healthy deals to it, but you know, it's all in moderation, portion. Okay. Slip that. Like with the turkey itself, you can actually sear it whole from the outside and cook it in the oven to finish it, and then slice it when you're ready to eat, or you can cut it into actual medallions and sear it and cook it for the purpose of having it all together. Okay, it's going. Throw some pecans in there. A bit more chili powder. Give it that little zip. Okay, and it's just like any other gravy. Try to pull away from the traditional flour thickening. We're going to use cornstarch tonight. Some of the water here. You'll be able to smell that chili powder mixing with all those other flavors. Okay, I got the same concept. Cornstarch, everybody's worked with cornstarch a little bit. They're coming up with all kinds of stuff. I mean, they're using some pretty wild stuff right now to thicken. And there's measurements at the end of the recipe. You know, stuff like this, you can do it in bulk and then add it in. This will give it a nice glassy, smooth texture rather than that cloudy, clumpy texture that flour. And you don't have to cook it as long like you do flour to get that flavor out of it. Just get it in there and just mix it around. And with cornstarch, you just got to watch overheating it because it'll thin back down. Okay, that's pretty much the gravy right there. Speed gravy. It's actually getting pretty hot. Add a little bit of water to balance it. A little bit of the base for some flavor. You can use your drippings from the turkey when you cook it, or the pan from the turkey when you cook it. And you got a little bit of apple cider vinegar. It's got some pretty good healing properties, and it adds an interesting little zing to the gravy that people aren't used to. It's not a bad thing. It's just like lemon, kind of marries the flavors. Just want to put a little squirt in there just to get it going. We'll set this off to the side and just let it simmer over here. Get this the other pan going here. Let it get some heat. Okay. Now I'll move on to the couscous, which is a Middle Eastern staple. Comes in a lot of different varieties, different sizes, from big pasta-looking balls to the small cracked wheat that most people are accustomed to when they go out. Depending on where you're at and what style of food they're doing will grade the size a lot of times and how they're presenting it and what they're presenting it with. This is something that's kind of jumped into the scene in the last 10 or 12 years. And adding, like with couscous, you can add anything you like in it. I mean, I've made it with currants. You can put fruit in it, nuts. I'm just getting a basic vegetables that most people are accustomed to eating today. Squash and zucchini, carrots. You can cut them any thickness. I mean, it's a real fine couscous, so sometimes a little better to go a little thinner with it, a little finer. But for the sake of seeing, you know, I got a nice little quarter dice there. And everything's good with garlic, so it's good for you. Take a clove and throw it in there. And all depending on how much you like garlic, it's how you cut it, you know. I don't mind it, especially once it's cooked a little bit. It's got a really good flavor. Put it in there where you can see it. Mix it around in there. Get your little bit of the kosher salt in there too. You kind of want to do the same thing here. You just want to cook those vegetables tender. I got some dried cranberries here. Give it that little festive holiday zing. And just like with the traditional stuffing, you basically bake the cornbread, or if you use bread, you toast the bread. Then you make your ingredients and you marry it all together and you add your moist, and then you put it in your pan or in your turkey and you cook it off in there. This is going to be a lot quicker version of stuffing, you know, get that moisture in those cranberries and the flavors flowing there. And basically with this, you just want to get it up to temperature and then get your water, which I wanted to get some hot ahead. And basically you want it to pull all those flavors off of the pan. And I mean, with the flavors, you can use vegetable base, chicken base, any type of base that you want to give it flavor. Using a little chicken today, but I got some vegetable here. Show you a lot of this stuff's showing up in the grocery stores now. Stuff that we've been using for years and years in the kitchens, hotels and hospitals and. Like that. Basically, the couscous isn't really have to be boiled. You get it hot enough to where it's simmering, and you pour the couscous and just fluff it. And it basically cooks. It's such a small grain. I'll put some out over here so you guys, if you guys want to come up afterwards, set some to the side so you guys can actually see it in its raw form. Like I said before, I mean, you can put raisins, currants, which is just a smaller variety, raisin family. I mean, this stuff cooks fast, and you don't want it to. I mean, like if you get too much in there for the amount of water, you could always add a little bit more water, a little bit more flavor. But it soaks it up pretty quick. See, and that pan's hot enough. We could actually just add a little bit more water in there, just a little bit more flavor. Like I said, this is basically, I mean, you could actually, you don't even have to cook this over the stove. You just get your vegetables and your liquid hot enough, and you could actually have this in like a metal salad bowl and pour your hot ingredient in it and just fluff it in there and let it soak it up like if it was rice at the end, you know, and it just gets to the right moisture pretty quick with the heat from the liquid and everything. And you can put cheeses and things like that too in there. There's a lot of variances with it that you can do. Let's see, fairly quick. You already got your gravy and your starch there. Now the tenderloin or the breast of turkey, you got it all seasoned up. And you can either throw the whole thing in the pan, sear it from the outside, cook it in the oven, covered, maybe 20 minutes or less, depending on how big the loin is, and then slice it like you want it and the juices are still sealed in there. Or if you wanted to do it on the stovetop like we're going to do it tonight, you just cut your medallions. Like I said, 1/2 inch medallions in the recipe. But you can cut them to whatever thickness you want, or cook it whole. I mean, cooking it whole is a good thing because you can still in all the juices, and then slice it when you want it. Okay, you got there. Get a little bit of the chili powder flavor on the outside of all sides of it. The last little bit of olive oil in there. Make sure it's pretty warm. Basically take just like a steak, and just put it in there. And this is a cook really fast. Like I said, you can go get a turkey, break it down yourself if you're feeling adventurous, or you can buy a roast. Sometimes they'll have them foil packed as a roast. Open that up and break it down. It's just usually two breasts together from the turkey itself. Just sit it on there and let it. Turkey's one of those things that we don't eat a lot, it's just like during Thanksgiving, kind of when we hunt for it and crave it. And turn it down a little bit here, just get that color going on there. And like at the plate, like I said, it firms up pretty quick, just like a chicken breast. I mean, this is pretty thin cut, and the thinner you cut it, the quicker it's going to cook. Get that going, and then you can go over and get some of your couscous. Get it on your plate. You see those cranberries they plumped up a little bit from the simmering with the liquid and other vegetables. Okay. Make sure this is good and done. A few more minutes probably. Almost there. You can present it quick and easy there. You got a few medallions on there. Put them up real nice on the plate. They say less is more. Watch those portions of anything, and that's the key. We tend to, out of habit and in our culture, to eat the huger portions of things. And like with this gravy, you don't need a whole lot of it, and it's pretty chunky depending on how you make it up. This is a little bit more dense, chunky version. And I got some asparagus here too. Add a little bit of color to the plate. You can do broccoli, you could do whatever vegetable that suits you. Just throw this to the side. Give me a little bit more room for the asparagus. Get some nice color on it. Next thing, add a little bit of water. Kind of steam it in the pan. Make it quick. Like asparagus, you can grill it on the grill, season it with the same basic little seasonings. Just get adventurous with your food, you know. If there's flavors you like, try it on different stuff. That nice little color going on there. And just plop it. Now it's not so. There's the green that was missing. Voila, you have it. Pan-seared turkey medallions with chili-pecan gravy on cranberry couscous.